Okay. Thank you, Jean-Pierre.
我差不多到点了。
这不就是这样吗？看不到我吗？我看了也看了啊。
有31在这个屋里面。Hi, Ellen. Could you hear me?
Yes, morning. Hi, I can hear you.
Meet you again.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Good.
Good.
Hi, 文涛。
麦克风没开。
How are you doing, Prof?
Oh, hi. Hi, Zena. Nice to
Hello.
meet you.
Morning, Pak Zainal.
Morning, Prof. Aileen.
Apa khabar?
Baik. Very good.
Good.
I tried to find that a background. I couldn't find it.
And this background pun I minta, I ask for Mengzi, because
Hey, everybody.
Hey, good morning, Prof. Oki.
Hi.
Prof.
Okay.
Oki.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, how is the what do you call the list of the speaker, right? So we start from you, presenting you, and then Professor Oki, and then Dr. Krishnan, and Dr. Ji Zhang, and Professor Yuan. Yeah, 5 speakers, right?
Huh?
There are.
According to the agenda,
Yes.
we have 4 invited talks. Yes, the Oki, Pa-Oki, and Ellen, and Renchen, and myself, right?
All 3 of you.
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
And there are other 3 mini talks from Mr. Krishan, and Jie Zhang, and Yongquan Yuan. It is a mini talk. Yeah.
Professor Fan Wang, just to confirm, the mini talk we have 2 speakers or 3 speakers?
3 speakers.
For the mini talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Prof. Fan Wang, can you repeat it again, the speaker?
Yeah, the invited speaker is the first is me, and the second is Oki.
Yes.
Third is Ellen, and Renchen.
Renchen Yu.
Renchen Yu, yeah.
Renchen Yu, okay.
Yeah.
So the Yongguan Yang Yuan is the for the mini talk, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The last
okay.
One.
I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, shall we start?
Hold on a minute. Okay, Prof. Van Wang, Professor Yu, yeah. Okay. So the speaker, can I repeat again? First, Prof. Van Wang, and then Prof. Oki.
Yeah.
And then Prof. Eileen.
Yes.
Yes.
And then number 4, Prof. Yu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Renceng Yu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 3-minute speaker is Krishnan, Jinzhang, and Yongquan, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we can start.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fan Wang from Institute of Oceanology, Chinese Academy of Sciences. On behalf of the organizing committee and program committee, I'm happy to welcome your participation in Decade Action Incubator 8, unlocks the mysteries and opportunities of marine biodiversity in the Indo-Pacific Convergent Center. The integrated investigation in Indo-Pacific Convergent Center, Marine Ecosystem and Biodiversity, short for Triple IPCC MEB initiative, was firstly proposed at the Regional Consultative and Planning Workshop towards the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development for the North Pacific and Western Pacific Marginal Sea in 2019, Tokyo, to identify the priority issues on marine ecosystem and biodiversity reach in the IPCC area and develop a solution to reverse the deterioration of the marine biodiversity from multi-layer and multidisciplinary perspectives. With the support of IOC-WESTPAC, a Triple IPCC MEB working group was formally established in April this year to strengthen the regional collaboration and develop the programs. The IOCAS, CMAX USM, and the RCO BRAIN want to jointly propose the unlock the mysteries and opportunities of marine biodiversity in IPCC area side event to disseminate the concept of Triple IPCC MEB initiative and engage the society in this region for further collaboration. This side event will provide a platform for promoting the co-design process of Triple IPCC program amongst ocean science community, policymakers, private sectors, and civil society towards the identification and the development of science-based solutions to protect and preserve the marine biodiversity in this region. And today, we are honored to have invited the professors and various stakeholders to attend this side event. Firstly, let's warmly welcome Mr. Wen-Tao Wang from the Administrative Center for China's Agenda 21st, Ministry of Science Technology of China, deliver his opening speech. Please, Wen-Tao.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wang Fan. Distinguished Dr. Wang Fan, Dr. Zainal Arifin, Dr. Alin Tan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a great honor for me to participate in this Incubator 8, the Indo-Pacific Convergent Center, on behalf of the Administrative Center for China's Agenda 21, Ministry of Science and Technology. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizer, the Institute of Oceanology, Chinese Academy of Science, and also my great thanks to all the online participants. As a once-in-lifetime opportunity, UN Decade aims to lead a revolution in ocean technology and global ocean governance. 3 goals and 7 outcomes have been proposed. I noticed that the slogan of this kickoff meeting for the Western Pacific is to join the collective global movement, engage with various stakeholders in this region, and develop ocean science solutions for the ocean we want, which I think fits very well with the goals of the UN Decade. Indo-Pacific region is deeply influenced by many oceanic, atmospheric, and geological systems. So far as I know, Indo-Pacific Convergent Center is recognized as the global center of marine biodiversity. Many scientific issues associated with the Biodiversity Center, however, have not yet been explored, including species and geographic distribution patterns, origin and evolution of marine organisms, diffusion regularity and driving factors, and so on. As stakeholders in the Indo-Pacific region, how to reverse the trend of ocean health decline, how to protect marine biodiversity, and how to rationally use marine resources, we need to give scientific answers and make more research works. Our center acts as a pioneer and a driving force for pushing China toward sustainable development. During the 14th five-year plan, the budget managed by our Center for R&D in ocean and polar field has reached more than 6 billion Chinese yuan, which covering most of the SDG 14 targets, like reduce ocean pollution, eutrophication, ocean acidification, overfishing, ocean prediction, ecosystem health, and so on. ACA 21 also have more than 40 cooperative partners from all over the world in the fields of climate change, ocean and polar science. We take the lead of the BRICS countries working group on the ocean and the polar fields, actively participate in the IPCC, ILDP, the Arctic Circle, and other cooperation in this field. Our center fully supports the UN Decade activities, and all incubator works. In this Incubator 8, it's great to see that scientists from Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and China are working together to focus on the marine biodiversity in the Indo-Pacific Convergent Center. Scientists research on different aspects from climate change, chemical perspective to protection and design international program. I wish the Incubator 8 a big success and wish our international scientific team discovers the marine biodiversity mysteries and seize the great opportunities to develop more collaborative activities. That's all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for Winter's speech. So next, please welcome Ms. Dongyao Wang from Bureau of International Cooperation, Chinese Academy of Sciences. Dongyao, please.
Yes, hi. Thank you, Professor Wang. Long time no see. So dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm Dongyao Wang from the Bureau of International Cooperation of Chinese Academy of Sciences. It's my great honor to be invited to participate in this meeting. As you know, the ocean is crucial to all the life on Earth and the prosperity of human society. In the past decades, human activities brought huge stress to the ocean, which caused obvious degradation of marine environment and adversely affected the marine ecosystem. As one of the national academies in the region, the Chinese Academy of Sciences has always attached great importance to the study on the sustainable development and protection of the marine environment, and always highlighted the importance of the international communication and the cooperation to tackle this transboundary and interdisciplinary challenge. Nowadays, the scientists from different countries have established extensive collaboration and achieved many valuable results. I think the IPPC MEB initiative is one of them, which proposes a very practical and inspiring action plan. I know Professor Yu will give more details about it later. I wish this initiative will attract more stakeholders and scientists from the different countries to work together along with the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Through the joint efforts of all the parties, we will make greater contribution to the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. I wish the meeting a great success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dong Yang. And according to the request of the kickoff conference, we should take a group photo. And could you please open your camera? Oh.
All right, everyone is ready?
Right?
Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile, yeah. Okay, another page, we have quite participants today. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much.
Okay, wonderful. So, thank you very much. And now, according to our agenda, I will give my the host right to Pat-Zena, please. Now Ahmad, yeah, please.
Thank you very much, Prof. Wang, for handing me to chair this 60-minute presentation or discussion later on. So the first speaker today will be Professor Fan Wang from Institute of Oceanology, China Academy of Science. So he is a director of the Institute of Oceanology, China Academy of Science, and Yantai Institute of Coastal Zone Research. He is also Dean of Marine Science College, University of China Academy of Science. So for the next 15 minutes, Professor Wang will present the talk on climate change impact on marine biodiversity in the IPCC area. So the time is yours, Professor Wang.
Okay, thank you. Let's share my screen. Could you see it?
Yes, it's clear, but could you please use
right?
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Thank you, Pat-Zena. And ladies and gentlemen, today I would talk about the multi-layer or multi-sphere interactions in the Indo-Pacific Convergent Center of matter and energy, especially the climate change impact to marine biodiversity. My talk includes 4 parts. The first one is about the background and the significance. The Indo-Pacific Convergent Center, located in or between the Pacific and the Indian Oceans, And there is the Indo-Pacific warm pool as a thermal center of ocean. And there is a very strong advection center in the atmosphere over the warm pool. And there are 3 plates converging to this area. And finally, there is a biodiversity center over the whole the global ocean, even the whole globe. So there are material energy convergence centers of the 4 layers of the Earth system. The interaction between layers and the oceans is extremely complex and intense. So this area's study gives us an ideal window or insights into the processes of multi-layer interactions. And the comprehensive study in this area has multiple overlap significance through cross-layer, cross-scale, and cross-disciplinary investigations. About climate change and prediction, the Ocean and the Atmosphere Convergence Center is formed by the full coupling between ocean and the atmosphere. However, there's an enormous gap in the cognition of the ocean processes. Meanwhile, as the heat source of the global thermohaline grid conveyor belt, the mechanism and effects has rarely been explored comparing to the cold source in North Atlantic Ocean. About the plate theory and the earthquake prevention and disaster reduction, there are lots of subduction zones with different stages as natural lab for studying the initiation of plate subduction. And plate subduction triggers deep cycle of energy and material among the solid Earth, the ocean, and even atmosphere. And the plate convergence causes frequent volcanoes and earthquakes in this area. So the study will offer us a key to solve the mystery of initiation mechanism of plate subduction and a seismogenic mechanism. And about biodiversity and resource conservation and utilization, this area holds about 76% reef building coral, 75% mangrove, 58% mollusk, 45% seaweed, and 37% coral reef fish species among the global ocean. And as a tectonic plates shift and warm pool involve, the diversity center shifted several times in several historic periods. And between the glacial and interglacial period, the diversity pattern adjusted meridionally, and at present, the distribution pattern of modern biodiversity is closely related to the sea surface temperature and circulation. So the climatic, environmental, and biological relationships is crucial to solve the mystery of the formation and evolution of the biodiversity center and lay the scientific foundation for diversity conservation and sustainable utilization of the resources. The second part is about the scientific issues and challenges we will face too. The first issue is what are the coupled ocean atmosphere dynamic processes and their influence in transport of biogenic elements, including the key horizontal transport and exchange process between oceans, given the very complex terrain. The key vertical transport and exchange processes between the upper and the deep ocean, and the mechanism of convergence and generation, elimination of biogenic elements. The key factor we should consider includes heterogeneous input, atmospheric deposition, and oceanic vertical exchange, especially the migration of transformations of biogenic elements between environment and organisms. The second issue is what are the initiation mechanism and process of plate subduction and its influence on the formation and evolution and the wormhole, and firstly, the center of marine biodiversity. And the third one is what is the multi-layer interaction mechanisms for the formation and evolution of the center of biodiversity. As we all know, there have been several different hypotheses of the center formation, but they are unclear and even controversial. Is there a union mechanism, or is there a marine Wallace line? And the previous studies have mainly taken into account the organisms themselves, while the relationship between the complex environment and the organism has not sufficiently considered so far. The impacts of ocean atmosphere and solid environment on biodiversity are complex and paradoxical. For example, the biodiversity was consistent well with the macro pattern of physical environment. However, it was quite different from that of biogenic elements and primary production. And water exchange between two oceans owns a dual effect on connectivity and isolation of the regional species. The Indo-Pacific wormhole conditions coral triangle coral breaching occurs under global warming, as many studies show. And in the future, how will diversity centers evolve, and how will the ecological function change? Is there a source-sink relationship between deep sea biodiversity and shallow sea? How to shape habitats in deep sea extreme environments? And the fourth issue is about the long-term impact of biodiversity on marine ecological environment and its habitability. The coral reef system maintains specific biodiversity, while the coral bleaching would dramatically reduce the biodiversity. And as some studies show, by 2100, the coral reef ecosystem would possibly become the first disappearing ecosystem on the Earth. So the coral biodiversity and the evolution mechanism of its ecological function still need further study. And different biotas possess vital ecological functions respectively, which could result in the changes of ecosystem structure and function. So what are the ecological effects caused by changes in the typical biota in this area? To address the above scientific issue, we have to address some challenges, such as a lack of basic data, limited field investigation, and insufficient simulation capability. So there are urgent needs to introduce new methods and means and to carry out international cooperation. So the third part is the goals and the perspective for future cooperation. And through the international cooperation, we try to build the international sharing platform, including the multi-layer integrated observation system in this area, the ocean environmental, biological, ecological coupled model, data management platform, and artificial intelligence data products, and the international program, the triple IPCC. And we have some very potential solution for our future work. The first one is for artificial intelligence, which can offer new means for information mining and intelligent analysis, because the AI technology owns powerful data mining and nonlinear characterization abilities. And also, the environmental DNA is a very useful tool for us because it is rapidly developed in the past several years with unique performance and bright prospect. However, there are only 10% of research results related to the ocean among the total environment science. And up to now, only 3 papers focusing coral reef in this area have been achieved. So it will strongly support the systematic research of biodiversity, not only in this area, but also in other oceans and seas. And the other thing, the most important thing is the international cooperation. Some scientists actively involved in UN decade of ocean science for sustainable development, and a working group headed by Ellen, Zena, and me was established with approval of the IOC-WESTPAC to promote the triple IPCC. So a new international program is on the horizon vividly. Finally, I would summarize my talk. Focusing on the climate-environment organism interaction, we will organize the international cooperative study through the cross-layer, across ocean, cross-disciplinary, and cross-scale study to understand co-evolution mechanism of multi-layer, especially the Biodiversity Center, and the mechanism of material energy exchange among them. And this area has so many frontier issues, big challenges, and huge innovation potentiality. So thank you for your attention and welcome to join us. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Prof. Van Wang, for your presentation. I think we very exact time, yeah. So we still have around 2 minute time left, but for all of you who has a question, please hold on your question until the end of this discussion. So I will move to the next speaker. The next speaker is Professor Oki Karnarajasa. He is from Indonesia. He will talk on issue related to biodiversity. The title is on From Marine Biodiversity to Chemical Biodiversity, an eco-biotechnological perspective. Professor Oki is head of research organization of Earth Science at National Research and Innovation Agency. It used to be Indonesian Institute of Sciences. So his expertise is microbiology and biotechnology. So he led 4 research centers currently. So we will have 15 minutes, Prof. Oki, to present your idea and idea and solution for what Professor Van Wang stated earlier. Please, your time now. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Zainal. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to briefly talk about from marine biodiversity to chemical diversity and eco-biotechnological perspective. Indonesia is regarded as one of the mega biodiversity country and has been known as a marine biodiversity hotspot. We are lucky enough to have a different diverse coastal ecosystem, such as a coral reef, representing 14% of the world's coral reef, and then mangrove, 23%, and also seagrass. As we all know that biological diversity means chemical diversity. So by maintaining our biological diversity, basically we will be able to also maintain our chemical diversity, which is also important for us, especially to support our life as well our health. And when we talk about the development of marine natural product chemistry, especially, we need also to consider about the branch of biology, which is known as marine chemical ecology. That means an interaction between microorganism and environments through chemical interaction. That means there is no physical interaction in this matter. So I consider that this marine chemical ecology is quite immature in our region, and there is a need to strengthen our understanding on the marine chemical ecology to support our development on marine natural product chemistry that are useful for industry, medicine, and agriculture, etc. So basically, there is a need to strengthen our capacity on this matter. When we talk about marine natural product, especially from marine biodiversity, so we will talk about our benefits, not only for human, but also for ecosystem health. That means we have to maintain also our ecosystem for the future generation. There are at least three big themes regarding this topic. Number one is biodiversity itself. It could be from marine habitats or marine microbe or their phylogeny. And secondly is chemodiversity and biological function. That is very much interesting for us in order to study some basic understanding how this active isolate, for example, will produce certain products that are benefit for ourselves. The third one is a biotechnological and application. We can talk about the genomic biotechnological production as well as our products such as antibiotics and anti-cancer. This is an example of Indonesian marine diversity as a bioactive compound has been reported. As you can see here, it's very diverse function from cytotoxic, anti-cancer, anti-insecticidal, and then anti-tumor, cytostatic, and then Alzheimer, antioxidant, cystic, and algacidal, and antifungal. And you can see here from the map that most of our bioactive compound mostly come from the central and the eastern part of Indonesia. And it is very much related to the level of biodiversity in this region, especially in the central and the eastern part of Indonesia. When we talk about the development of marine natural product, we talk also about the supply problem in the initial step of drug discovery. This is very much true, especially when we are talking about the preclinical as well as clinical trial for the commercialization. It is well known, understood that marine natural product is quite complex structure. Sometimes it is not feasible for the synthesis. On the other hand, our option on aquaculture, either in situ or ex situ, also sometimes is support the growth of the producing organism, but the true bioactive compound do not produce. That's another challenge for the aquaculture. And lastly is the development of marine microbiology or marine biotechnology, especially through the sustainable fermentation of microbes that are associated with host organism. So this will offer no recollection and possibility, but on other way, it also represents our difficulty in terms of culturing the marine microbe, because so far, based on our technique and media, only 1% of the marine microbe has been successfully cultivated. Now there is another phenomena that represents chemical interaction between the host microorganism and their associated microbe, which is well known as a microbial symbion. So in certain invertebrate, we have what we call it high microbial abundance invertebrate. As you can see here, about 40 to 60% of their biomass are represented or occupied by their associated microbe. So by doing isolating and screening of this potential microbe, we will be able to have alternative for searching for the marine natural product from reef invertebrate, for example. The symbiotic microbe are the true of a natural product producer. I can see you here, I can show you here at least there are two accumulating evidences that indicating that bacterial symbiont are the true producer of the natural product. In this regard, Bugula eritina that produce bryostatin A, when their larvae treated by antibiotic, this Bugula eritina was not able to produce the bryostatin A. So there is an independent interaction between the bacterial symbiont and our host microorganism. Of course, this will represent another challenge for marine chemical ecology, especially for clarifying how this microbe and their host microorganism are interacting. Indonesia, besides having such very productive coastal ecosystem, indeed we have several deep sea water. As you can see here from Banda Sea area, it has the deepest part up to 7,700 meters. That means this represents another the untapped biodiversity from the deep sea environment. And we have some difficulties, of course, for collecting and isolating the microbe or macro, but there is another study that representing the potential, as mentioned by Professor Wang, the study of environmental pool DNA, especially by using the marine metagenomic. As you can see here, there is no single dot representing the study of marine metagenomic from Indonesia, despite the fact that there is an increase on the use of metagenomic. This portal was online in 2017 until now and maintained by the Center for Bioinformatics, the Arctic University of Norway. And you can see here, there are several use of metagenomic study, especially for in a range of scientific and industry application, from monitoring pollution and recycling water system, bioprospecting, and also disease surveillance and development of functional feed for aquaculture. Now there is a possibility to explore deep sea Indonesia using metagenomic and synthetic biology approach. So basically our study here will depend on the functional metagenomic data from the environmental pool DNA, and we use synthetic biology, which is very much really on biopart, a sequence of DNA that represent functionalities of certain function. So in this regard, we can use different part of gene from functional metagenomic data to establish and to construct certain interchangeable biopart in order to build up a genetic circuit based on different biopart from metagenomic study, so that it can be used to produce a high value compound. And for general strategies for mining biopart from deep sea, at least we can use two different approaches. Number one is the whole genome shotgun sequencing is performed for environmental pool DNA sample for gene and species discovery. And secondly, we can chop the DNA fragment, then will be cloned with plasmid, which has green and red fluorescent protein, then it will transform into E. coli. So basically, we will be able to screening the E. coli, and then using cell sorter and potential colony can be further analysis and pick up to be compared with the sequence that we obtain from whole genome sequencing. Synthetic biology approach for high value compound, especially from marine and deep sea, can also be conducted by DBT cycle, which means design, build, test, and learn cycle to obtain the base assembly to express gene in the pathway and produce desired product in different form. And we are now at the National Research and Innovation Agency, currently also constructing new building for facilities regarding the biodiversity that can be used as a scientific hub for biodiversity research and collaboration in the field of biology, including marine microbiology. So hopefully by 2020, we will be able to complete. So as mentioned by Professor Wang, we are also launching a global platform, including for biodiversity. So hopefully this will also allow our international partner to be able to join our initiative.
2 minutes more, Pak.
Yeah, this is the final slide. We are also just constructed National Fleet Management Unit that will also support our marine and deep sea research. And as concluding remark, much of nature treasure trove of small molecule in Indonesian water remain to be explored, particularly from marine and microbial diversity to fulfill the human needs. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Prof. Oki. It's an excellent talk, I think. Pak Oki presenting a topic on marine biodiversity from eco-biotechnology perspective. So we move to Malaysia now. So we will invite Professor Eileen Tan. She will present topic on empowering the public in biodiversity protection. Professor Eileen Tan is Director of Center for Marine and Coastal Studies at the University Science Malaysia. So his research, her research interest is on issue related with marine biodiversity, aquaculture, and also related with the human activities. So Professor Eileen, you have a 50-minute presentation. Please, floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Zainal. Can you see my slides now?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Good morning and good day to all the ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are. What I'm sharing today, this morning, would be slightly different from what been shared by Professor Fang Wan and Prof. Oki. Theirs is very much science-based, talking about the whole III PCC, and also on chemistry, biodiversity. Mine is more on how do we actually involve the public in biodiversity protection. The last decade of the 20th century was the first time a sense of urgency about the global scale degradation of natural habitats and the resultant threats to potentially millions of species galvanized an effort to both study and conserve was at risk. The obvious question is, why has a massive international effort to deal with the biodiversity crisis still failed to launch? You know, why is it still failed to launch? You know, are the scientists not doing enough, or the government not doing enough? The power of people is well demonstrated as a primary force to protect our biodiversity, the power of the people. But how do we translate all the science that has been generated in the institution, in the higher learning institution, to the public for their understanding and to get them involved in playing a role in biodiversity protection? When we talk about richness, many would think about dollar and cents without much focus on our vast ocean heritage and translating our ocean heritage to our wealth. Why is biodiversity important to us? You know, I know most of us would already know because we are all from the scientific background. I'm trying to bring this matter out for the benefit of those who are not from the scientific background. You know, biodiversity provides to our economy, provides life ecological support, supports recreation, cultural and scientific needs. Biodiversity represents a wealth of systematic ecological data that helps us to understand the natural world and its origin. This importance, this facts is well known to us, but this is not well known to the general public, especially to the communities themselves. So biodiversity not only supports giving us the advantage that's been shared earlier, but it actually supports our economies and enhances our well-being, the human well-being, and has the potential to do even more. The 5 main roles of biodiversity to human well-being, you know, some of it has been shared by Prof. Oki earlier on. Biodiversity ensures health and food security, like what we are moving forward now with the Blue Food Agenda. And biodiversity helps fight diseases, like, for example, the pharmaceutical products. Biodiversity benefits businesses, for example, food, seafood, and tourism. And biodiversity provides livelihood, for example, value from ecosystem services. And biodiversity protects us, such as nature-based solutions that buffer us from natural disasters, such as floods and storms. As ecosystems are increasingly threatened by human activity, acknowledging the benefits of biodiversity is the first step in ensuring that we look after it. We know biodiversity matters. Now, as a society, we should protect it, and in doing so, protect our own long-term interests. This slide shows the global distribution of cumulative environmental impacts. These slides show the marine hotspots of the world, with the highest marine biodiversity hotspot concentrating at the Western Pacific region. A similar slide has been shown, also has been shared by Professor Fang Wang earlier. But you compare with this slide shows the global distribution of cumulative environmental impacts, with highlights of high cumulative impact index also around the Western Pacific region. This is indeed a worrying coincidence due to the biodiversity loss, added impacts from climate change and anthropogenic factors. We are rich, and yet, this area, the Western Pacific area, is also subject to very high impact of stresses. But biodiversity is critically important to our health, to our safety, and probably to our business or livelihood. But biodiversity, the diversity within species, between species of an ecosystem, is declining globally faster than any other time in human history. This slide shows the primary drivers of biodiversity loss, which includes habitat loss, invasive species, overexploitation, pollution, and climate change associated with global warming. The influencer are human population growth. Human population growth are increasing rapidly also, increasing consumption and reduce resource efficiency. To engage people in environmental issues such as the biodiversity crisis, one has to inspire a connection with nature. That linkage should be built from a clear and compelling message about the importance of biodiversity and what we risk in depleting it. Sir David Attenborough, the famous naturalist, has quoted, "No one will protect what they don't care about, and no one will care about what they have never experienced." This is very important for us to keep in mind, because when we talk to the community, this is something we must understand. At the moment, the community do not really understand what is biodiversity is all about. In a study done by Monitor of Engagement with the Natural Environment in year 2018 and 2019, the survey found that around 90% of the adults in UK, we have not done such study in our region, so I'm using the template, the example from UK. The adults in UK do understand and concern about the natural environment. If you look at this, when it comes to natural disaster, they do have actions, they do have activities. But as it goes, the understanding is there, the knowledge is there. As it goes to how much being contributed by household actions, you can see a drastic drop from 74%, which is involving cycling. Our community also understand and it reduce the carbon emission. They do cycles, the population, the community do cycle around. But when it comes to more other things, which is expecting the each household to take action, it actually drops. And when we look at it into conservation action, into volunteerism, into actual practice, it actually only goes down to 4%, who is actually, in the general public, who is actually involving in conservation action. This is a reflection. This is a reflection of the value action gap, showing the gap between what people say and what people do. Many of us are very good in saying things, we know and we explain it, but how many of us, really go down to the ground and do what we believe in and what we understand? That is a huge gap, from the earlier slides, from 94% to really action is only 4%. So what is our vision for biodiversity? We want broken ecosystems to be restored, missing biodiversity to be returned. We want people to benefit from a healthy ocean, and most of all, we want more people on the nature's side and more space for biodiversity to thrive. There are three main delivery strategies. First is do it ourselves. Each of us will have to do it ourselves. Secondly is to guide and support others. And thirdly, influence change and inspire action. I mean, as a scientist, we are not just doing science. Now we are more talking about how do we translate our knowledge, our findings into good use, into empowering the community, the public, into making them be involved and playing a role also in protecting our marine biodiversity or even biodiversity in general. In general, many of us knows what are the right things to do, but commonly, people wants to fit in what most people do and what should be done. We need social influencer, to empower the public. Without the social influencer, the knowledge is there, the understanding is there, but then business will be as usual. Without the social influencer, the public, we have to have the social influencer to empower the public for protection of biodiversity, to create a sustainable behavior. Then only we can map our roadmap to sustainable change. To empower the public, we need to discuss or make them involved by discussing issues that are impacting their livelihood. We need to empower the public to take action and to take charge of their own environment. Issues that impacting the livelihood, such as fish kills, affecting the livelihood of fish farmers. Issues such as plastic pollution, impacting the livelihoods, environment, and organisms that we care for, like the endangered species. Issues that touches the hearts of the public, such as these endangered species being caught in the abundant fishing nets. Pictures like this actually can give a lot of impacts. To engage people in biodiversity and other environmental issues, one must provide the opportunity for enhanced understanding that empowers individuals to make choices and to take action based on sound science and reliable recommendations. We have to use our findings, our data, to actually translate that to the understanding of laymen, understanding of the public. We must encourage behavioral change for biodiversity among the public. The approaches to be taken are motivate the change, socialize the change, and ease the change. The social influencer, it can be from the scientists. We have to come out from our comfort zone, from the ivory tower, and share what been shared, in platform like this with other stakeholders, which includes the public. And to empower the public, we must implement the 3 C's: communication, collaboration, and coordination. It will be wonderful if we can incorporate the public, the stakeholders, into our IIPCC program. That is fantastic, because we need, in order to make things happen, to make things better as what we believe, we need the cooperation from all. The public or the community should be made aware of the benefits of community-based marine and coastal ecosystem conservation and traditional biodiversity knowledge, which includes social benefits such as community cohesion and participation, ecological benefits, economic benefits such as community-based economies, and most of all cultural benefits such as strengthening cultural practices and traditional knowledge safeguard. Of course, we have to have empowerment through education. We have to groom our youth starting from a very young age. They will be our ambassador of the environment. They will be the caretaker of the environment. So empowerment through public awareness and involvement, we should look into creating more citizen science activities with the public, such as getting school children involved in collecting reliable data for management and decision making. Citizen science involves public professional partnerships that allow people of all ages an opportunity to participate in real scientific research. Empowerment through stories. In recent years, in our hectic lifestyle, people are reading less, but are more engaged with social media. The media has an important role to play to disseminate the awareness message to the public. The public can remember better about conservation of biodiversity and other issues better through stories, cartoons, or comics, and more impactful message if it's been shared through short videos. For example, like YouTube or TikTok, now it's getting more popular. There are many things we still do not know about our vast ocean. These are the concern of our youth today. Their voices should be heard in terms of protecting the environment. This is another example of the youth concern. So it lies on our shoulder now. So the journey of educating and creating awareness is a long one and filled with many challenges. It requires commitment and cooperation from all. As a closing remark, I quote the statement from Sir David Attenborough again. It is surely our responsibility to do everything within our power to create a planet that provides a home, not just for us, but for all life on Earth. As we realize biodiversity predicts current and future human health, we, the public, as well as our governments, must push for greater collective action to conserve the sanctity, biodiversity, and beauty of our environment for the future generation to come. Thank you very much for your attention. Back to you, Pak Zainal. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Eileen. I think it's very inspiring from Professor Eileen talk, right? So we have past 45 minutes. We have already listened Professor Van Wang on scientific issue and challenge on marine biodiversity, Professor Oki on how to approach this utilization of biodiversity sustainably. Professor Eileen has been providing the importance of protection of marine biodiversity for the benefit of environment and also the people. So the next 15 minutes, the final 15-minute talk will be on how we taking action of research and at regional level. Professor Recheng Yu will give a talk. So he is a professor at Institute of Oceanology, China Academy of Science. He is also assistant director of IOCAS. His expertise in marine ecology and harmful algal bloom. So the next 15 minutes will be yours, Prof. Yu. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Dano. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, clear.
Thank you. Just now we have three presentations about the challenges and also the values of marine biodiversity and ecosystems in the IPCC region. And I would like to give a talk on the actions we should take to protect the marine biodiversity and also marine ecosystems in this region. We all understand that the climate change has posed significant threats to the sustainability of marine ecosystems and also marine biodiversity. It was projected that there will be around 1.5 to 2 centigrade between 2030 and 2050s. So this increase of temperature will have significant impacts, particularly on the marine ecosystems in the polar region and also the ecosystems based on coral reefs. And this is extremely important for the IPCC region. Sorry. As just mentioned, this region is a very important region for the multiple sphere interactions. It's a hotspot of marine biodiversity, and it's also a region with significant impacts of ocean circulation and future climate change. So we all understand that the marine ecosystem biodiversity is very rich here in this region. And this is of high value, not only for marine organisms, but also for the potential chemical resources and genetic resources, as just introduced by Professor Oki. And we all understand that the future evolution of global warming will have significant impacts on the biodiversity in this region, because we understand that the formation of marine biodiversity center in this region is closely related to the geological evolution and also the effects of warm pool. But the future increase of temperature will significantly affect marine ecosystem and biodiversity in this region, and thus affect the values and services of marine ecosystems. But more than that, in this region, most of the countries are developing countries, and people are relying on the marine ecosystems to have their food, have their resources, and have their working opportunities. So the pollution and other issues together with climate change will significantly affect the health of marine ecosystems in this region and led to many issues like, for example, hamburger blooms, which will there will be another session shortly after our session. But at this stage, we don't have much understanding on the we still have a lot of gaps in data acquisition, in observation, and in assessment of ecosystem health, and also in the understandings of the future evolution trend of marine ecosystems. So all these gaps need to be solved. But in this region, we have many countries here, so we need a strong international collaboration to improve our understandings on the status and the trend of the marine ecosystems and also marine biodiversity. So that's the reason why we think it's important to put forward an international collaboration program. And I think the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development offer us a very good opportunity for us to carry out this kind of collaboration. It offers a once-in-a-life opportunity, not only for the scientists working on marine science, but also for the other, for the industries and for the students to join this kind of collaboration. So in the conference organized in 2019 in Tokyo, we put forward a primary idea on the organization of a triple IPCC MEB program in this region. And fortunately, this program was supported by the WESTPAC, and it was listed as a working group in April this year. And this working group, we hope, will strengthen the regional collaboration and for the development of the future international program. So I would like to give a brief introduction about the objectives and also the outcomes of the triple IPCC MAP program. The working group. So we hope through the implementation of this working group, as well as this incubator meeting, we hope we could highlight the importance of the understandings on the formation and the evolution of the biodiversity center in this IPCC area, and also its socio-economic impacts. Through the implementation of the working group and the discussion in this meeting, we hope to identify the priority issues on marine ecosystem and biodiversity research from the multi-sphere and multidisciplinary perspectives. And this will help us to address a health and resilient ocean. And we also hope to integrate the shared interests of different countries in this country to promote further collaboration and also to improve our capability in observation, forecasting, and the prediction of the marine ecosystem changes. And another objective is to help to involve more young professionals in the cooperative studies on the triple IPCC MAP program. And there are many different aspects related to the marine biodiversity and the marine ecosystems in this region. For example, marine ecosystems, marine biodiversity, marine environment, fisheries, the habitat, the warming issue, the pollution issue, and also the marine ecological disaster issue like harmful algal blooms. We need to integrate all the different parts through observation and modeling, and try to develop them through integration and collaboration, communication, and training to have some important outputs. The major outputs could be identify priority issues for future collaboration and on marine ecosystem and biodiversity, to promote the development of a science plan, and also probably an implementation plan for the Tripod IPCC web map program, and to improve the awareness of early career ocean professionals to ocean decade, and try to bridge the gaps between the science community and also the policymakers. So I think it's time for us to develop this program, and how should we implement the plan? There are several aspects we could working together. First is the academic exchange. We could organize conferences and seminars to promote the exchange of ideas and progresses on marine ecosystem and biodiversity research in this region. And we could organize joint cruises to promote the observation and also the data sharing. And there will be technical trainings to develop our capability in observation, such like the artificial intelligence and eDNA. The new techniques could be involved in the future collaboration. And also we could promote the talent exchange through the supporting of young scientists to visit among different countries to improve the joint research. We have developed primarily a coordination structure through the establishment of a steering group and also a coordination office. So this steering group for the working group, its major responsibility is to provide strategic leadership and governance oversight. And the coordination office will help to coordinate the activities and monitor the implementation of this working group. So far, we have invited several professors for this steering group, including Professor Fan Wang, Patino Arifin, and Professor Aline Tan. And also scientists from Indonesia, from Malaysia, and from China are involved in this working group. And we hope to have more scientists from other countries to join our scientific steering group to help supervise the working group. And also, we think there are many different aspects related to this working group, such as climate change issues, carbon neutrality, and observation modeling, marine ecosystem and biodiversity, fishery resources, marine ecological disasters, and marine pollution issues. So we plan to develop different sub-working groups which could involve to have more young scientists get involved into this collaboration working group. To coordinate the operation of this working group, we also plan to establish an office for the coordination affairs. We plan to have 3 different branches from Malaysia, from Indonesia, and also from China to coordinate the different sub-working groups and try to organize the activities within this international program. And that's a primary idea about the design of the Tripod IPCC map program. And we hope to have all your attentions and the involvements from the scientists, especially the young scientists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Rengqing Yu. I think this is a kind of, if I may say, The IPCC, Indo-Pacific Convergent Center, is a kind of a platform for working at a regional level. So as Professor Van Wang mentioned in the first talk, that this working group will focus on actually multi-layer activities at the level of hydrosphere. So focus on thermal center, atmosphere, issue on advection, and lithosphere on plate convergence. And we did a lot of a discussion today on biosphere, yeah, on biodiversity center area. So to move to the next discussion, I transfer from Indonesia to Malaysia, Ibu Prof. Aileen, to lead this discussion. Please, Prof. Aileen, I send to Malaysia now. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Zainal, from Indonesia to Malaysia. Earlier on was from China, Indonesia, now lastly to Malaysia. Thank you very much. So now we move on to the next session, which is the mini talks. Yeah, we have 3 speakers that we have invited. Each speaker will give a very short talk, about 5 minutes. So we have enough time for discussion, hopefully. Yeah, so first I would like to invite Dr. Krishan Karunaratini, an earlier career scientist from Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. His expertise is in marine biology, focusing on taxonomic identification and present status of jellyfish resources in the coastal waters of Sri Lanka. Krishnan's talk will be on the role of marine biodata in supporting industry. Over to you, Krishnan. Krishnan, are you here? Okay, I've just got a message from our TI support team that he was here earlier, but he has accidentally left. While waiting for him, and without wasting time, maybe I will invite our second speaker first. Yeah, Dr. Jie Zhang, an associate professor from the Institute of Oceanography, China Academy of Science. Dr. Jie Zhang's expertise is on seaweed genomics, evolutionary biology, and population genetics. Dr. Jie Zhang's talk entitled Phylogeographic Diversification and Postglacial Recolonization Patterns, the Case of Sargassum Species in the IPCC. Over to you, Dr. Jie Zhang. Thank you.
Yes.
I think, Jie Zhang, you have to ask those surrounding you to move further away.
I think for not speak, we have to turn it off for those who are not speak.
Jie Zhang, are you there, Jie Zhang? Your screen is already uploaded, is already on the screen.
Yes, everything okay over there?
Zhejiang?
Yeah. Hi, Professor Aline.
Yes, yes.
Can you see the slide?
Yeah, I can see the slide, but can you put it? Yes, yes. Thank you, please.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jie Zhang from ICARS. It's my great honor to share our recent work with all of you. Our research work focuses on phylogeographic diversification and the post-glacial.
Zhejiang, you're unmute. You accidentally unmute. You accidentally mute. Please unmute yourself. Yes.
Can you hear? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. First, I introduce background of our research work. The left figure shows the biodiversity hotspots on Earth. The right figures show the global marine species reach. Evidence showed that IPCC is one of important marine biodiversity centers. Our research work focuses on one important seaweed Sakasama polysystem. The seaweed is a common and dominant seaweed occurring in the subtitle, those of the Indo-Pacific region. It belongs to Sakasama genus with some unique characteristics. The seaweed contains vesicles exhalate, so it can form floating mass and exhibit stronger floating ability. Besides, vegetative reproduction promotes the seaweed to colonize and survive in the new habitat. So the seaweeds are ideal models to test biogeographic hypotheses relating to isolation, migration, and diversification. So in our work have two main objectives. One is to estimate genetic diversity level of this seaweed. The other is to infer the demographic history and the colonization routes. In our study, we examined two important genetic diversity indices to evaluate the genetic diversity level. The results show that low genetic diversity was revealed at the population level, but Hannah Island and Bali Island have high genetic diversity. Furthermore, we also examined 27 haplotypes in all kelp populations. This figure shows the haplotype distribution. Different colors represent different haplotypes. From this figure, we can say Hannah Island and Bali Island have high haplotype diversity. Then we also construct haplotype network and conduct population structure analysis. All these results show that all the kelp populations divided to genetic lineages. As we know, glacial refuge is the area where animals and plants could survive during glaciation. Our previous work supported that Hannah Island and Bali Island might be marine refuge for this brown algae. So in this study, we want to investigate post-glacial recognition process. So we designed 4 evolutionary models to test the recognition rules. The results show that this kelp was originated from Hannah Island, following by southward disposal across South China Sea to the Gulf of Thailand and the Strait of Malacca. Besides, Bali Island population also contributed to the genetic divergence of Malacca Strait populations. Then we want to examine how ocean currents influence the gene flow between different kelp populations. The left figures show the ocean current patterns in Indo-Pacific region. The right figure shows the gene flow between different populations. All these results showed that the present gene flow was in agreement with the contemporary Indo-Pacific ocean currents. As we know, there are 3 common responses to climate change for marine species. One is extinction, migration, and adaptation. Then our future work will focus two main objectives. One is how climate change influences the distribution of disease. The other is what is the genetic mechanism of adaptation under the climate change. Special thanks to our team, and this work was supported by Strategy Priority Research Program of CAS. Thank you for your attention.
Eileen, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jiazang. Thank you very much for your presentation and keeping to the time. Very good presentation. Now, since Christian is not here, we'll invite the third speaker, Dr. Yong Guan Yuan, Associate Professor from Institute of Oceanography, Chinese Academy of Science. His expertise, Dr. Yong Guan Yuan, expertise is on coastal eutrophication and harmful algae blooms. His title is Mitigation of Harmful Algae Blooms in China and ASEAN Countries, a Modified Clay Approach. Over to you, Dr. Yuan.
Yeah, thanks for you, Eileen, and just call me Isaac for your convenience.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I'm from IOCS, and today I'd like to share a story about the harmful algal blooms control. Well, let's start with a short video. So we know that the marine and the freshwater algae or phytoplanktons sometimes would grow out of control. And this phenomena we call the harmful algal blooms. It could have several negative impacts to the human health or to the local economies, such as the agriculture and to the biodiversity. Well, it's a global ecological disaster, but more important, it has been a regional challenge in the IPCC area or in the Asian countries. For example, the HABs caused by the crocodilium often induced some cultural fish mortality. And here is the case in the Malaysia last year along the coast of Penang. So the HABs is a disaster just like a fire. So to a fire, we have to do something and have something in our hand. We call it the fire extinguisher, or let's say some emergency control strategies. So in series, there are several approaches could be used to treat HABs. For example, we could use ultrasonics or some physical measures, but the HABs in the field is often dozens, hundreds, or even thousands square kilometers. So it could not be used in the open sea, this kind of method. And people used to spray some chemicals like copper or algaecide into the field to treat HABs, but it could induce the second pollution to the environment. So this kind of approaches has been prohibited. And people used to use some biological methods, but the effects is very slow. So it could not be used in field by now. In China, we use a technology called the modified clay. So the cells would be flocculated by the clay particles and settle down to the bottom. And it is very quick. And this method has been used along China coast since 2005. It's a very promising technology. The advantage of it initially is very effective to flocculate the HAB cells. Well, after spray this MC into the field, the water become clean in maybe minutes or hours. And in the microscope view, the clay will flocculate the cells and settle them down to the bottom. And this action maybe takes only 1 hour or less than 1 hour. But this direct flocculations, maybe 70 to 80% of the cells would be flocculated to the bottom. And for the lucky residue cells in the water, well, and they will just the growth of of them will be inhibited by the MC additions. Some of the progress is very fast, and some maybe a little relatively slow, but destined. And by the growth of the cells will be inhibited by the MC addition, so the HAPs could be controlled in the field. And the efficiency of this method is very okay, and the dosage we use in the field is only 4 to 10 tons per square kilometers. Is very low. And secondly, it's a very green technologies. Well, the cells at the bottom, to the cells at the bottom, the degradation of itself would be prevented by the MC additions, so benefits the carbon burial. And the nutrients in the water could absorb, so the water quality could be improved. It is totally harmless to typical aquaculture organisms like fish, shrimp, etc. It could decline the toxins in the water and inhibit the seeds or maybe seeds of some specific species, and could adjust the community structure, thus optimize the ecosystem totally. And this material was further evaluated by several third parties, and it is indicated that no harm to the organism and to the environment. We also developed several types of the equipment that could be used to spray this material in field. Some of them could be used in the culture ponds, and some of them is fit for to be used in the open waters. In addition, this method is not only used in China, but also be introduced worldwide. For example, it has been demonstrated in the USA, in the Florida, against the Florida HAPs there. And such collaborations on the disposal of this method was just financial by NOAA and others. And we also introduced this method to Peru. And such collaborations were supported by different stakeholders, like the National Congress of Peru, NGOs, and some culture companies there. So can we use this, is this method could be used potentially in the Asian countries? The answer is yes, I think. This method is viewed by Princess Shillington in Bangkok to 2018 during the cash exploitation. And it is viewed by several officers from Indonesia, Burma, and etc. By now, this method, we are working with the Singapore Food Agency, SFA, and to develop the protocols on how to use this method in Singapore, in the Johor Strait. So here we go, the summaries. So the many HAPs are disasters and should be treated as such disasters. And people, including the public authorities and the agriculture industries, they want some levels of HAPs control. So is there any strategies to control HAPs? The answer is yes. There are promising bloom control strategies in use in some countries, maybe not in your country, but in some countries outside. So one of which is the clay disposal. In this area, MC, the modified clay, is widely used in China. It's a promising technologies and has the potential to be widely introduced in Asian countries. So here is my talk. Thanks for your attention. I'm Isaac, and I could be reached by this address.
Thank you, Isaac, for your impressive presentation. I'm sure there will be some questions for you later. Let's move on. We have found Dr. Krishan. I think he's here with us already. So again, I'll introduce Dr. Krishan, an earlier career scientist from Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. His expertise is in marine biology, focused on taxonomy identification and present status of jellyfish resources in the coastal waters of Sri Lanka. His talk will be on the role of marine biodata in supporting industry. Over to you, Krishan. Welcome back.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Eileen.
Yes.
So there was a small technical issue, so I couldn't participate on time.
Okay, do you have slides to share?
Yes.
Yes, please. Okay, we see your slides now. You just need to put it into slideshow. Yes. Yes, Krishan, you can start.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The topic is the role of marine biota of Indo-Pacific in supporting industries.
Your slides is not moving,
Yeah,
Krishan.
I don't know what's going on. Now it's okay. Okay. Right. The plants and animals of a particular region is called a biota. The marine organisms, economically called as blue biomass, are pelagic or benthic. There are about 5 million species in oceans, but so far most of them have not been classified. And these oceans are really important to the well-being of life and economics. Marine biota of Indo-Pacific is significant because it is the biodiversity hotspot in the world. The coral triangle is also located here. And there are several types of ecosystems like estuaries, shoal masses, mangrove forests, and open and deep sea oceans. A range of organisms dwells in these ecosystems such as bacteria, fungi, other microorganisms, cyanobacteria, micro and macroalgae, sponges, mollusks, other invertebrates, fish, and plants are called as marine bioresources or blue resources. The sustainable use of those blue resources for economic growth, improved livelihood and jobs while preserving the health of the oceans refers to blue economy. As you will know, the Indo-Pacific region is very popular for the several industries such as fishing industry, aquarium industry, and tourism. Also, various marine resources harvested from this region are important to produce feed for livestock, for fertilizers, pesticides, and weedicides. The building materials and cement additives are also produced by using invertebrates. The biotechnology that utilizes molecules and substances of marine origin refers to the blue biotechnology. The growth of blue economy in the Indo-Pacific region could be enhanced on the transformation of marine bioresources into food, medicine, animal feed, and related bio-based items. The blue biotechnology can be applied for mariculture, and highly valuable various products can also be produced. Incorporated services such as ecosystem management, both fundamental and applied research, and bioremediation card for sustainable utilization of the marine bioresources. The blue biotechnology is essential for the development of the pharmaceutical and cosmetic industries. Various kinds of therapeutic drugs are produced from marine bioresources by using blue biotechnology. Perspectives of the blue economy of the Indo-Pacific should be upon the development of processing and preservation techniques of marine bioresources. Also, the products should be exposed to global markets, and exploration of marine environment for untapped or underutilized bioresources is also essential. There is an example from Sri Lanka. There was no comprehensive study on jellyfish resource in Sri Lankan waters. Thus, we carried out a survey.
Question, another one minute.
Were obtained which were important biology, fisheries, toxinology, some other applied sciences. Based on our findings, some other Sri Lankan researchers were able to extract some important substance from jellyfish for the first time from Sri Lanka. By the presentation, I wanted to tell that exploring marine bioresources and applying blue biotechnology for them will expand the industries and the economy of the Indo-Pacific nations. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Krishan. Thank you for your for keeping to time. And okay, let's move. Let's all of us move to the discussion. I would like to invite all the speakers and back on stage to answer the Q&A session. All right, the discussion session. There is a few questions. There are a few questions in the chat box that I will read out. Some of it has been answered and some of it has not been answered. Let's address the first question been posted or been posted on the chat box by Arif Rajman regarding the warming and possible migration of many organisms towards colder region, northward or southward. Could we predict that kind of movement where the marine organisms from tropical region will take refuge under continuous warming ocean? And I remember the case of tropicalization due to migration of tropical species from around Indonesia to coastal region of Australia is an ongoing problem and threat to their marine diversity. Can I invite Professor Fang to address this issue, this question, Professor?
Okay, thank you, Ellen. And I have dropped some words at the discussion chat panel. And yes, this is very important question, which is one of the issue of the triple IPCC MEB. And I do think in the future, if we want to address this question, we need to organize some basic investigation with better coverage, not only in the coastal or the surface sea, but also some offshore area and at subsurface, intermediate or deep layer sampling. And also we should follow the international standards so we can combine the data and sample analysis results together with from the different channel or resources. And also, I do think that our traditional method of sampling and analysis can hardly fill the gap of sampling, the spatial and temporal sampling. So maybe we need use some new methods such as the environmental DNA. We can use the water sample to recognize or identify the species instead of we have to use net or multi-layer net, which cannot give us enough sample. And also we can use the artificial intelligence analysis method to give help us to establish the relationship between physical, chemical, and biological or ecological parameters. And also, if we want to project the future trend of the biodiversity pattern within and outside of our region, we definitely need to develop a proper coupled model to give us a much more reasonable scenario of the future environment change. That's my preliminary. I have this thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wang. Let's move on. Is there any questions from the floor themselves? If you have question, please raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask the question. Okay. So while waiting for you to raise your hand, I will go back to the chat box. There's one for Isaac. Even though it has been answered, I think it would be good for Isaac to share it with the crowd. The question is, could you explain a bit on the chemical components of the modified clay? Is it just clay or is it mixed with other chemical compounds? So it flocculate easier or can kill or stop phytoplankton growth. Isaac, please.
Under that concern, So the main components of the modified clay is just the natural clay. So
Isaac, we could not hear you clearly. Can you go nearer to the mic?
I'm coming. So is it much better?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay, so the main components of the modified clay is a natural clay. So it is very green and environmental friendly technologies. And we just modified the surface and to improve the removal efficiency of the clay and to the help cells. And for your concern about the basic organisms, initially, and the dosage we used in open waters is extremely low, which is only 4 grams per meter, a square meter. That it is equal to, we just spray a sugar bag of a coffee onto the surface of one square meter. So it is very extremely low. The turbidity, we didn't see the turbidity changes in open waters because of the water exchange. And but for a careful reason, also test the potential impact of the modified clay.
Yan Wei, can you please off your mic? Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yan Wei, can you unmute yourself? Okay, back to you, Isaac. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so let's back on. And to the basic organisms, we also test the potential impacts of this method to the basic. The simple answer is no. There is no obvious changes of the control group and the MC addition group. So all in all, it is very green and environmental friendly approach to mitigate or to treat gaps in field.
And is it cheap compared to other tools?
Well, yeah, thank you, Professor Wang. Yeah, this method has been widely used along China coast. We control HABs in hundreds square kilometers or 1,000 square kilometers. So the cost or it could be accepted, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. My own curiosity, this modified clay is designed to actually capture the HAB. What my question is, what if the HAB happens in a mollusk farm and the mollusk is filter feeder and they need the algae to feed? Does the clay also absorb other plankton also in the area if you were to put in the clay in a mollusk culture farm?
Initially, and the mechanisms this method controlling HABs is the flocculation between the clay particles and it's a help cells. So it could flocculate these help cells and settle down them to the bottoms. Yes, and to your own concern. And so I wish to share a story we used in shrimp culture ponds. We spray this material onto the surface of a shrimp culture ponds. And the shrimps may potentially, to eat these clay particles or all the flocculants. And do you know the results? And the shrimps grow much bigger, and the taste is much better than before.
Then is that they are actually in a way eating also the HAP also, right?
Yep.
Okay, I have, I don't see any burning questions in the chat. I have one question for Professor Wang or Renjeng Yu to address. This triple PCC, we are just initiating. I see a lot of interested participants and audience here that we can actually invite them to join. The burning question that they have is fundings. Fundings. If there is opportunity for training, for joining the excursion and training and workshops, and also learning how to do the research together. But most of us would like to know what is your directions in terms of sustaining this program in terms of funding. Yeah, over to you, Prof. Wang.
Thank you, Ellen. I think the international program can play a role as an umbrella or platform where we can apply the funding from our own national funding agency for the members' activity. And meanwhile, the IOCS have already get some initial fund, which can be used to organize some seminar and a training course and young scientist exchange in a couple of years. And based on this, and I think we can design a very good implementation plan, including the field experiment and internal experiment. So yes, the membership who has the member institution who has research vessel, okay, we can organize some joint cruise, but with their own funding, and for the partner institutions without research vessel, or we can invite the scientists on board our research vessel or not, even on board or no, we can share all data and samples, and do some joint research and jointly submit and publish our papers.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you for enlightening us with some positive notes on how we can move this program. I would like to suggest to Renjeng Yu, can you please kindly put the secretariat email onto the chat box? So I'm sure there will be more interested parties that is going to contact the main secretariat of this program. Okay, Renjeng Yu or Lin, can you please type your whoever contact number, so those who is interested to join or to participate in this program can actually email to our team. All right. For those who are interested, please look at the chat box for the email address that you can write to show your interest. So I think time is not on our side. I will pass it back to Professor Fang Wang for your closing remarks. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating and be part of the program. Thank you very much. Back to you, Prof. Fang Wang.
Okay, thank you, Ellen. And yeah, maybe, thank you. And I just reading the message at the chat room to me, but maybe I can answer the question later. Okay, the dear friends and colleagues, we are very close to the end of this meeting. I believe our meeting is a great success. We have already listened to 4 invited talks from senior scientists and 3 mini talks from young scientists, and all presentations were very informative, and discussion even not time enough, but is very I think is fruitful and constructive. On behalf of all members of our organizing committee, I want to thank Professors Zena and Ellen for hosting the meeting, and sincerely appreciate all participants of the Incubator 8 today to engage in developing the knowledge of marine biodiversity in this area and finding the solutions based on our joint effort. And you can say from Ren Yu's talk, there's many vacancy of our working group, not only the committee membership, but also the leaders and members of the sub working group. So if you have interest, and we welcome the people, scientists, to join us, but we have to deal with the balances between of the genders, the countries, and the disciplinary. So we want our group community be very comprehensive and with more countries and more institutions and more the female scientists get in, and at last, I would appreciate again for your support and participation, and look forward we can work together to promote the not only science but also our society and economy to grow healthily. Thank you very much. Okay, and yeah, it's just on time, and look forward to meet you again, not only online but also in person in near future, and hope you all our friends and your family stay safe and keep health. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Stay
Thank
safe.
you,
Take
everyone.
care. Yeah.
No need to have picture anymore, eh?
Thank you.
Already?
Already.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.